my dear students. So here we are with another part of Unit 2 of the paper 315 by E by A. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about clauses. We're not going to go into the definition of clause, but I will be talking about first noun clauses. Now, noun clauses are also called nominal clauses. Why is it a noun clause, a nominal clause? Because the function is the same as a noun. Now, you know that nouns can be subject, nouns can be object, nouns can be complement, etc. So the noun clause can also function in these different ways. Let me begin by giving you an example. I'm going to give you a sentence where I shall be placing the noun clause in different positions or in different functions. So let's get to it right away. So let me have an example for you. Whether Rujita will do it is doubtful. Let me repeat that. Whether Rujita will do it is doubtful. What is the verb here? Is the main verb. Whether Rujita will do it is the subject of the verb is. Okay, so you have a noun clause, a nominal clause, doing the function of the subject. Whether Rujita will do it is doubtful. Let's go on. I don't know if Rujita will do it. I don't know. Don't know the verb. Don't know what? If Rujita will do it. So you've got that as object. Okay? So in the first example, it was subject. In the second example, it's object. The problem is whether Rujita will do it. The problem is, remember, when we were looking at verbs, if you remember, go back and listen to that lecture again. The problem. What is the problem? The problem is whether Rujita will do it. So what is it here? Here it is a complement. Whether Rujita will do it. Remember, it's not the object because it's a complement of the subject. The subject here being problem. The problem, whether Rujita will do it, is uncertain. The problem, whether Rujita will do it, is uncertain. So there you have what can be called a appositive, right? It is an appositive. The problem, whether Rujita will do it, is doubtful. We can also have it as a prepositional complement. The decision that we need to take, probably. The decision will depend on whether Rujita will do it. So there it becomes a prepositional complement. What have I told you, my dear students? That a noun clause can function. Why is it called a noun clause? Because it does the basic function that a noun does. So the noun clause can function as a subject, an object, a complement, an appositive, or a prepositional complement. Now we can have these noun clauses as that clause. For example, the problem is that Rujita may not do it. The problem is that Rujita may not do it. So what do we have there? We have a that clause. How Rujita will do it? How Rujita will do it is the problem. How Rujita will do it is the problem. So it can be formed like an interrogative. the problem that we need to look at, right? I'm giving you the same sentence, my dear students, the same noun clause in different positions, in different functions, to make it clear that the noun clause can do all these functions. I would like you to listen to those sentences again to make sure that you can see how we can have different constructions of the noun clause. We can also see that the noun clause can perform various functions. I hope that is clear to you. And remember, you must go back to your textbook, to the prescribed book, which all of you probably have, right? You must go back. I think the new edition is blue in color, but that doesn't matter. The book is the same. And what is the book? A Communicative Grammar of English. Do look into this book, and I'm sure your doubts would be clear. The next kind of clause that I want to talk to you about is called an adverbial clause. Remember, right at the beginning, when you were looking at the various ways in which sentences are constructed, when you looked at the subject, the verb, the object, etc., at that time, I'm sure you also noticed, and I'm sure your professor did tell you, that adverbs are mobile. They can be placed in different places, number one. Number two, adverbs are optional. Number three, within the same sentence or in the same sentence, you can keep shifting the adverb. That is as far as the adverb goes. For example, if I say, sometimes I have tea, I have tea sometimes, I sometimes have tea. I'm looking at sometimes as the adverb. And notice how I've shifted the adverb. And probably when I'm speaking, maybe my tone, maybe the intonation will tell you that I'm probably saying something. I mean, the stress is changing. But otherwise, when you read the sentence, when you look at the sentence in your notebook or in a textbook, the adverb is very easily, is mobile. It can be shifted. Also, you can have any number of adverbs in a sentence. For example, sometimes I have tea in the evening. In the evening, sometimes I have tea. I have tea with my parents sometimes in the evening. So you see how I can keep on adding adverbs. But of course, I am going to be looking at adverbial clauses. And like the adverb, the adverbial clauses also can be mobile, can be placed in different places. Adverbial clauses can have different kinds of construction. They can be used for various reasons. For example, they can be used for contrast, they can be used for condition, they can be used for place, they can be used for time, they can be used for cause, they can be used for reason, and so on and so forth. So adverbial clauses can be used for any one of these reasons, or maybe in a sentence for more than one reason. We would need to look at some examples of the adverbial clauses to make this clear to you. So, shall we look at some examples? Are you ready? Have you understood the function of the adverb and the adverbial clause? Let us now look at some sentences to make it clearer for us. So, let's look at some examples as I just told you. What are the positions? What are the situations in which we can use the adverb clause? For example, it can be for contrast. And at that time, maybe you would use a word like although. I went out, although my mother told me not to. As I told you, we can shift. So it can be, although my mother told me not to, I went out. It can also be with the phrase in spite of. In spite of my mother telling me not to, I went out. I hope you don't do it too often. But as an example, I think it can be okay. We can also use it when we have constructions like whether, whatever, etc. Whether we win or lose is of no significance. Whether we win or lose is of no significance. What are we doing there? We are using it with expectation, with an alternative condition. Adverbials are so many in number that it's quite possible that sometimes we get confused. So how do I know that it is an adverbial clause? My dear students, only by practice. Anything, after all, the more you use it, the better it'll be. You will, with practice, you will be able to see how it can be used, where it is used, for what reason it is used. The student continues to work hard because he wants to win a medal. The student continues to work hard because he wants to win a medal. Because he wants to win a medal. Because, right? So you have the adverbial. Because he wants to win a medal. We can have it either placed in the beginning or we can have it placed at the end. Remember, that is not very important where you place it. I'm repeating that, my dear students, because usually when we learn grammar, we are constantly told that the position is fixed. For example, in the English language, it is always subject, verb, object, right? Unless I want to say something and I want to shift the emphasis, and therefore I say, oh, coffee, I love that. So it could change like that. But otherwise, you have a fixed position. But remember, and that's why I'm repeating it, you might wonder why ma'am's saying it again and again, but the adverbial clause can be shifted. For example, you could have, over there is where the books are to be placed. Over there is where the books are to be placed, right? So that is place. Over there, an adverbial clause which indicates place. By 9 o'clock, all the students are expected to arrive by 9 o'clock. What is it telling us? It is telling us something about time. When? By 9 o'clock. So it's an adverbial clause indicating time. It could be a period in time, it could be a point in time, but adverbial clauses of time. In the same way, adverbial clauses of place. Right? The meeting, it was decided that the meeting would be conducted in the boardroom. It was decided that the meeting would be conducted in the boardroom. Where? So you've got place. So what are adverbial clauses used for, my dear students? They could be used for to indicate contrast, result, cause, for time, for place, etc. Remember, if it tells us something more about the verb, it is an adverb. And if it is more than a single word, we of course use the word adverbial also to refer to the adverb. But you know what a clause is. So we have, in short, looked at two kinds of clauses in this lecture: nominal clauses or noun clauses and adverbial clauses. Some revision, some extra reading will certainly make it clearer to all of you. All the best, students, as we continue in our lockdown. It seems to be never ending, but please remember, this too shall pass. So be positive, be happy, follow the rules of the government and stay blessed. All the best.